All right, let's dive right in. In this explainer, we are going to build a completely custom e-commerce store from scratch. We're talking about connecting a super fast Next.js frontend with a Shopify backend. And what does that get you? Total creative freedom over how your store looks and feels. So yeah, let's get into it.
So have you ever been there? You're trying to build a store, but you feel completely locked in by these rigid cookie-cutter templates. You spend more time trying to fight the system than actually building something cool for your brand. Well, that's exactly the problem we're going to solve today.
The answer? It's something called headless commerce. So think about traditional stores. They're what we call monolithic. The front end, what the customer sees, and the back end, where all the data lives, are all stuck together. We're going to decouple that. We're going to separate them and have them talk through APIs. And what's the payoff? Two huge things: blazing fast speed and, you guessed it, total creative freedom.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll quickly cover why you'd even want to go headless. Then we'll prep Shopify, deploy everything to Vercel, get the code on our own machine, and finally, we'll start pulling in some custom data. We're going from zero to a live site, step by step.
All right, Section 1. Why bother going headless? Honestly, the simplest reason is to just escape that one-size-fits-all trap. When you split your storefront from all the back-end logic, you can build something truly unique and super fast. It's all about tailoring the experience to your brand, not being stuck with what the platform gives you.
Okay, moving on to Section 2. Now we got to get our Shopify backend ready. Just think of Shopify as the brain of our operation. It's going to handle all the heavy lifting: products, orders, customer info, all that stuff, running quietly in the background.
Then you know what? The setup is actually pretty straightforward. First, you'll create a Shopify partner account. After that, you just spin up a new development store, install the official Headless app from their app store, and then you generate the API tokens. These tokens are what let our front end talk to the back end. But seriously, that first step is super important. And here it is, probably the most important tip of this whole setup. You have got to create a partner account, not a standard one for a regular store. This is non-negotiable. The partner account is what gives you access to all the developer tools and permissions you need to do this. A regular account, it's just not going to work.
All right, now for the really cool part. Let's call it the magic. We're going to take our Shopify backend, which is all ready to go, and connect it to a live Next.js frontend on Vercel. This is where the two pieces of our puzzle finally click together.
So how do they connect? Through these things called environment variables. Just picture them as the bridge between your storefront and your Shopify data. When you deploy on Vercel, it's going to ask you for three things: your Shopify store domain, a public access token, and a private secret key. And you'll get all of these right from that Headless app we just installed.
Okay, so our site is live. How cool is that? Now in Section 4, it's time to actually get our hands dirty with the code. We're going to pull the whole project down to our own computer so we can start customizing it. And don't worry, it's just a few simple commands in the terminal.
It's really just 4 quick commands. First, you'll git clone the repository that Vercel made for you. Next up, pnpm install. This template uses pnpm, which is just a really fast way to install all the code the project depends on. Then Vercel link tells Vercel that this folder on your computer is that project. And finally, the magic part, Vercel env pull. That securely grabs those API keys we set up and brings them down to your machine. Super slick. All right, so you're all set up. You go into Shopify, add an awesome new product, and then you go to your live site and nothing. It's not there. What's going on? This is a super common thing. It's a caching issue, and it can be really frustrating. But thankfully, the fix is incredibly simple.
Okay, here's a pro tip that's going to save you a massive headache. Just dive into your code, find the lib/shopify/index.ts file. In there, you'll see a function called Shopify fetch. All you have to do is find the line that says cache equals force cache and change it to cache equals no store. That's it. This basically tells Next.js, hey, don't save a copy of the data, always go get the latest stuff from Shopify. Now this is perfect for when you're developing, but for a real production site, you might want a more advanced caching strategy for the best performance.
And that brings us to Section 5. This is where we really unlock that total creative control we've been talking about. We're going to use a super cool tool called GraphQL to talk directly to the Shopify API. And the best part? We can ask for exactly the data we want. Nothing more, nothing less.
So what exactly is GraphQL? The best way to think about it is like a super specific shopping list for data. Instead of going to the store and them just giving you one of everything, you hand them a list that says, I need milk, eggs, and bread. That's it. You write a query telling the API exactly what you need, and that's all you get back. It's so efficient.
Let's make this real. Look at this query. It's pretty readable, right? We're saying, hey Shopify, get me some products. Just the first 3, please. And then for each of those products, we're getting even more specific. We're saying, I only want the ID, the title, and the handle, which is just that clean, URL-friendly name. That's our shopping list.
And here's the result. The API sends back this beautiful, clean JSON data. It's exactly what we asked for. No extra junk, no bloated fields we don't need. It's just the precise data we wanted, all ready for us to use in our custom components on the front end. Perfect.
So let's just take a step back and look at what we did. In just a few minutes, we went through the whole workflow. We set up Shopify, deployed a live Next.js site, got the code running locally, squashed that annoying caching bug, and even learned how to pull in custom data using GraphQL. We literally went from nothing to a live, fully customizable e-commerce store. That's huge.
So, there you have it. Your headless storefront is live. The foundation is solid. You've officially broken free from the tyranny of the template. So really, there's only one question left to ask. What are you going to build next?